Hi, everybody, and welcome to Proline, coming to you direct from Las Vegas. Ours is the longest-running sports handicapping show in America. I'm Dave Cokin, joined by Jim Feist. We're going to take a look at Week 2 of the NFL, including Patriots-Saints, Falcons-Packers, and along with that, we'll have some Vegas sports betting tips to get you ready for what should be a winning weekend. First, Jim, 2-0 with your NFL high roller releases on Sunday. On the same game, you had the Lions plus the points against the Cardinals, and the Lions and Cardinals to go over the total.
That's right. More of the same this weekend, including another high roller personal best in the NFL. If you want to get 7 days of my service on the house, go to ProlineTV.com and hit the subscribe button. Or get a free play every day right to your cell phone by texting GAME, G-A-M-E, to 64600. And get my plays daily at JimFeist.com. And at checkout, use the code word Jim50 and get 50% off each purchase.
I ended up with just one high roller play on Sunday, and that ended up being the Chicago Bears. Took the points in that game. They lose by 6, but they were getting 7. Actually, should have won the game, but, you know, they won the way we keep score here in Las Vegas, so no problems there. Now, you can also get a free daily play from me by texting COKIN 64600. That's Cokin 64600. And check out our plays each day at JimFeist.com. Articles, videos, podcasts, along with fast facts. These are free stats from Jim's personal database. And when you purchase at checkout, use the code DAVE50, that's D-A-V-E 50, and get 50% off all my plays. Before we get to the games, let's look at this week's Proline poll question of the week, which is up every Monday on Twitter at Jim Feist Sports. And, you know, there's always overreaction to 1 week, so this is no different. But it does bring up great debate stuff, and here we go again. Is it time to hit the panic button after Week 1? Which NFL coach is on the hottest seat? Todd Bowles of the Jets, Chuck Pagano from the Colts, Marvin Lewis from the Bengals, Bill O'Brien from the Texans were the candidates we decided to list. Who won or lost, as the case may be?
Well, it turned out 5% picked Todd Bowles, 13 Bill O'Brien, 27 said Pagano, and the winner, or the big loser, of course, how you look at it, Marvin Lewis got 55% of the vote. Personally, I think Marvin, the fact that he has more of a nucleus there, he probably is the guy, but I don't think it's going to be him because O'Brien, with this stuff that he's been doing with the quarterbacks and pulling, he goes through the whole preseason, he picks one guy, and then at halftime, he did the same thing 2 years ago.
Yep.
And what this, you know, maybe he made a mistake. Maybe it should be the other guy. But what happens is it splits the clubhouse, the locker room. There's always dissension when you do stuff like that because, okay, I can't believe what the coach says anymore. Well, 3 years ago, he did the same thing with Hoyer and Mallett. Now he's doing the same thing again. This is a bad football coach. He should not be a head coach. Maybe he should be an offensive coordinator. Maybe that's what he should be. But he's been a quarterback killer. They're now calling him Captain Hook. Remember back in those days, that pirate show.
Sparky Anderson was Captain Hook in baseball for the Cincinnati Reds.
There you go.
He won a lot more.
Yeah, if you win,
more.
If you can win, you can get by with a lot of these faux pas. But this guy doesn't win either, and he's in a bad division.
He's got a bad team too.
He's got a bad
offense.
But their defense can be is solid.
Yeah, the defense is excellent.
Yeah.
Here's the problem, and it's where I think I find the most fault with O'Brien and why I put him first on this list. He runs a really complex offense. It's one of the most complex offensive playbooks in the league. Is that a good idea when your quarterbacks are Tom Savage, who basically was a third-string quarterback going into last year, and Deshaun Watson, who has no NFL experience, great deal of potential, but no NFL experience? To me, you run with those two quarterbacks, and the fact you've got a great defense, I don't understand why you want to run a complex offense. I would run a simplified offense that stresses game management. Don't turn the ball over. Grind out first downs and field goals. If we score touchdowns, that's great. But the Houston Texans are going to win with defense. It's as simple as that. They are not going to win with their offense because their offense is lousy. So to me, O'Brien, if what I gather is factual is true, and that's, I'm not a believer in alternative facts. I like being told what's going on and making my assessment on that. He's running the wrong type of offense for this football team. Marvin Lewis, I know, has got the awful playoff record, but the fact is at least he got to the playoffs several times. And there's nothing Marvin Lewis can do about the fact that they have a ridiculously awful offensive line. I think it's the worst. I actually think the Bengals' offensive line is the worst offensive line in the league.
That's
the worst. 32 out of 32.
We saw some really bad ones this week. I mean,
Well,
Seattle's offensive line, Giants' offensive line.
Seattle's got the problem at left tackle. When the guy got hurt, his replacement was absolutely terrible last week. But there's certain things they'll be able to do to compensate for that, and one of which is get Wilson on the move. Dalton, you saw a terrible case of the happy feet last week, which Andy Dalton gets when he gets pressured. He is not a quarterback who can do that well. Brady starts moving along like that, fine. Dalton, not fine. They're a bit of a train wreck right now. And so I think it's between those two. Todd Bowles, it's not his fault they've got what they've got.
No, he shouldn't be on the list because he has a terrible team, probably
and
worse
Pagano,
team.
It's not his fault that Andrew Luck's not playing.
Pagano should have been let go a couple of years
Probably.
ago, in my opinion. And I think Marvin Lewis should have been let go a couple of years ago.
I don't disagree with any of that.
And what saved O'Brien was last year he came back and they got the playoffs and stuff. But the problem with changing anything, quarterbacks, coaches, offensive coordinators, et cetera, is where do you get the replacements from, and are they really any better? So it's always rolling the dice. And it costs the teams a lot of money because most of these guys get contracts that extend beyond the time they get canned. So you're paying this guy to sit at home.
Yeah, they got more money than they know what to do with anyway. So, the bottom line is if Houston has a bad game at Cincinnati on Thursday night, the heat is really going to be on O'Brien. And if the flip side happens, if Houston goes in and beats Cincinnati, it gets noisy for Marvin Lewis. They're the two hot seat front runners at this point.
Yeah, actually, if Marvin would lose this game on Thursday, I think
he could be out.
I think he would be out. So this poll answer would be actually right if that happened.
Now, the interesting thing is, though, and this is the one thing we were talking about, everybody's got the money, so it's no big deal. With the Bengals, it is. They hate paying off dollars for jobs not being performed anymore. Bengals are a cheap outfit, okay? We want to thank everybody for participating in this week's poll question. Check out Twitter at Dave Cokin to see my daily comments and about sports and the Vegas sports wagering scene.
And you can participate every day with me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube.
And when we come back, we'll take a look at a pair of Week 2 showdowns. Patriots battling the Saints. Both teams are 0-1. Falcons taking on the Packers. Both teams are 1-0. NFC title game rematch.